Hey friends, day 2 of the new year. I'm gonna stop counting after today. I don't really want to keep track. Welcome back to Hot News. Hope you're doing well. Glad to see your smiling faces back here. We got a bit to talk about, so that's what we have to do every Hot News. I just talk. I'm getting super meta on myself. Anyways, I want to let you know that today's episode is brought to you by Wootware, and especially their Wootware Woot Books, my friends. I use this exclusively for all of my Hot News perusing. I get the articles, I read the articles, all exclusively on the Wootware Woot Book. You can see that they're on their website. The prices are phenomenal, with the best value gaming laptops that you're going to find in South Africa, bar none. And in case you're not looking for a gaming laptop, they have a whole host of other parts, some of them that you can only find exclusive in South Africa, such as Fantex. They're amazing. Check out Wootware. They've been a supporter of the channel since 17 subscribers, and we're on 180,000 now. So big shout out to Wootware. Guys, check them out if you're in South Africa, and if you're not, just go peruse and you can realize how ridiculous their prices are here in South Africa. Even though Wootware has a great deal for South Africa, you're gonna cringe because we pay 40% more. Anyways, let's jump into the hot news, which talking about things being more expensive, AMD now more expensive as a stock because it's come out that they were the best performing stock for all of 2018, both on the S&P 500 as well as on the NASDAQ. You can see that they beat here Abiomed, Fortinet, I don't know what that is, Advanced Auto Parts, TripAdvisor. They even beat Chipotle, and Chipotle had a ways to go up, especially since they had to recover from that salmonella thing that they went through. Neither here nor there. So that's really impressive. They're up 80% from the year. You can see that on the NASDAQ, they are also the #1 performing there, 79%. Netflix only up 39% for the year. So even though Nvidia is embroiled in a whole lot of controversy around their stock with the collapse from what people are saying is the cryptocurrency thing we talked about in that yesterday's episode of Hot News, how they're being sued for not handling the crypto shenanigans very well, AMD is the top performing stock. Even though they are down 46% from their all-time high, they did peak at one point and then crashed with the rest of the tech stocks. It kind of is apparent. You can see most of the top performing stocks here are down from their all-time highs because there was just a lull in the market. A lot of AMD's success is obviously due to their massive hit Ryzen CPUs. The value that you get with their processors just can't be matched by Intel, and the performance is good enough for most people. The graphics division wasn't really that great this year, although at the beginning of the year they were severely propped up by mining. They were selling for giant pennies back in the day. Giant pennies is what they were selling for. So congrats to AMD. We'll see where they go in 2019. I'll like to remind you guys that we are expecting Ryzen 3000 series to be announced next week at CES, as well as potentially either Vega 2 or Navi. So we should have another great year of AMD if all reports go according to plan. So let's wait for that, but good job, AMD. Everybody clap for AMD. Are you clapping on the back of your hand?
Yes, because I got my phone in. Yeah.
You are a savage. If you can't clap with both hands, you slap the leg. Slap the leg. That's all you can do.
Never.
And all I can do is talk about the next one, which GDDR6, which is the RAM that is in brand new graphics cards from NVIDIA, potentially in the upcoming graphics cards from AMD. Well, it turns out that not only did we think it was going to cost a lot more, it costs a lot more than we thought it was going to cost a lot more, which is 70%. That's a weird way of phrasing a sentence, I'll tell you what. So according to 3D Center reports citing list prices from a whole bunch of wholesalers, 14 gigabit per second GDDR6 memory chips from Micron cost 70% more than the 8 gigabits per second GDDR5 from the same company at the same density. So for 1 gig and 1 gig, you're going to pay 70% more, which is a hefty price increase, but doesn't quite explain the the extra price that we're having to pay for 20 series cards. That seems to be like ray tracing and all that we're paying for. Which, let's talk about the next card that we're expecting, a GTX 2050, GTX 1150, RTX 2050. I don't think it'll be RTX because this thing shouldn't have ray tracing cores. It's kind of been leaked out on the internet. There's some rumors of it floating around. It looks like it's gonna have 896 CUDA cores, 56 texture units, 1,560 megahertz on the boost clock, 4 gigabytes of memory, probably GDDR6, and it's unconfirmed whether or not it's going to have any sort of ray tracing or tensor core capabilities. My guess is it would be no, especially since there's a whole bunch of stuff going on with the 2060, which we'll talk about in an upcoming episode of Hot News, because I wanted to dedicate a giant spot to the 2060, and yeah, today's not the day for that giant spot. All right, moving on from that. Let's talk about ray tracing though, and how it's the big hullabaloo of why we're supposed to buy buy RTX cards. Don't you know that ray tracing cores are the reason that you can get 90 FPS at 1080p with an RTX 2080 Ti? That's the whole point, is you got ray tracing cores. That's why they're so expensive, because you're getting the most lifelike performance that you could ever want in Battlefield 5 and no other game right now. But it turns out that that might not necessarily be the case. So in a forum over on 3D Center, which is mostly in German, a user actually ended up taking their Titan V, which is based on Volta, which was released last December, so it's over a year old, has no ray tracing cores, has about 100 more tensor cores than the RTX 2080 Ti, which isn't a giant amount. It turns out that the Titan V, which is tensor cores, does as well in Battlefield 5 with ray tracing on as does the 2080 Ti. Turns out right now, ray tracing cores kind of do nothing. This isn't something that we were unfamiliar with though. Battlefield 5 did report that they're not really using ray tracing cores to actually implement their ray tracing. So when are we gonna see that? Are we gonna see that when they actually implement an update and we can actually get the performance out of these cards that we're supposed to? Are ray tracing cores ever going to be used? Kind of confusing, but so you don't have to buy a $1,200 card to get 90 FPS at 1080p. You can buy a $3,000 card from a year ago. Either way, NVIDIA makes bank, so what did they care? They need to make up all the money that they're getting sued for in that class action lawsuit. Whatever the case is, it looks like ray tracing is still far off from its optimal future, and it's kind of like VR at this point. It's cool to turn on and show your friends, but then you put it away in the closet and never play it again because Battlefield 5 isn't a game people want to play. And for your friends who aren't on the latest stuff, like ray tracing and all of that kind of nonsense, if you're still on XP or Vista and you want to play your video games, you can on Steam. Steam has dropped support from those two operating systems effective yesterday. So if you can't log into Steam, you can't use it. That's the reason why. They've closed it off completely, so you're going to have to upgrade to Windows 7 or Windows 10. It's easy to get it for free. You just go to Microsoft's website, you never activate it. You're not taking keys that could potentially be gray market keys. They're never asking you to activate. The only issue is you can't personalize your desktop. That's the only limitation I've found, and that's good enough for me. So if you guys want, just check out Microsoft's website. Get on Windows 10. It's not that hard. Just do it. Random segue. Google's making a foldable smartphone. Claims a fresh rumor. Why? I don't know. I don't think I'm gonna need a foldable smartphone. It's from a source. They may be making it. Samsung's already unveiled theirs. There's another company that's already put out a foldable display. I can't see myself needing this whatsoever. It's like a tablet mixed with a phone, but that's why I get a giant phone. My pockets are big enough to hold a 7-inch device. I don't need something that folds and then turns into a 5-inch device, but is the size of a brick that I put in my pocket. Rikus, do you need a foldable phone?
No.
Who needs a foldable phone? Okay, do you guys have any implementation for this that I cannot think of? Because all I'm thinking is it's a giant bulky mess. So you let me know in the comments. I don't need it. Something else you don't need is a roll-up TV. Not like a fruit roll-up, but a TV that kind of it's a flexible display from Samsung. They patented it. Basically, you could put it away when you're not using it. It's a kind of cool technology. I'm not sure I would want to do that. This is the same reason I don't have a projector. I don't want to be moving up. That's not the reason I don't have a projector. Projectors just don't have as good contrast ratio. That's the reason I don't have a projector. And also they're more expensive for the cost that you get it. That's a whole rant I'm not going on right now. Foldable TV coming from Samsung. And in case you want to play old games on your Xbox One, RetroArch is supposed to be coming to the Xbox One in early 2019. LibRetro tweeted out saying, "We've bit the bullet and will commit to releasing an Xbox One port of RetroArch for early 2019. Might require developer activation and might not be available in the store, but will be possible for anyone with an Xbone to obtain nonetheless." So in case you want to play old retro games, you want to play some Commodore stuff, anything of the sort, you can play the new Nosedive game from Bandersnatch, the Black Mirror episode. They actually have that as something that you can use for. Anyways, you just link if you want, you're in it. Just RetroArch for the Xbox. And then in case you weren't over the whole camera fad that's on phones, that's the best way I can put it. Nokia says that we're not dead, and we definitely don't want this camera fad to go away because they put 7 different outlets on the back of their phone. 5 of them are cameras, one's a flash, and one's an IR reader. This basically looks like Master Yi from League of Legends with how many, that's a lot of circular cutouts. It's kind of cool because it doesn't have a bump, so that's nice, but nobody needs this. You don't need this. Nokia, stop trying to be extra, okay? Just go back to being what you were good at, and that's making the 3310 and nothing else, okay? Try to get the cost down on that as much as possible. Just make all of the profit. Don't scale, just be a normal business. Stop trying to do new things and you'll be all right. Maybe with all those cameras, you might be able to see into space. Probably not. But speaking of space, NASA has had their probe, New Horizons, go right by the farthest object in the solar system that we've ever visited, called Ultima Thule. I don't know how to Thule. Thule for my misappropriated English. So it's the furthest object that we've ever visited in the solar system. We should be getting images back any time now. It was sometime yesterday that NASA got the signal that the probe had made it back unharmed from its pass-by of Ultima Thule. So a cool little handmade gift that somebody made for their dad for this past Christmas. It's a card reader that has like little cards in the it's a jukebox that plays songs from little cards that you swipe. It's homemade. He just used a Raspberry Pi with the card reader, and then it just plays music over a speaker. It's kind of cool. I thought it was a neat little gift because they had to make homemade gifts, and that's what this programmer decided to do, and it's pretty dope. What's that song? I love rock and roll.
There we go.
Put it all the time in the jukebox, baby. I love rock and my singing is not good enough to get us copy strike. Anyways, I'm gonna end hot news there. Thank you all so much for watching. Let me know what your favorite article was down below in the comments. Let me know if I missed any news that you want me to talk about as well down there. Just let me know. What do you want me to talk about on hot news? What are you interested in? Inform me of your preferences. Don't forget that this video is brought to you by Wootware and the Root Books, and they're just a generally great company. So let's start 2019 off with them being a great sponsor for us, and we're gonna have a great relationship for the rest of the year. That got weird. Anyways, hit the like button if you enjoyed the video. Get subscribed. Just do it, okay? Just subscribe, okay? We need to hit 200,000. We're 20,000 close, all right? And that's it. I'm Brett with UFD Tech Channel. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see your smiling faces again in the next video. Love you. Toot.